So how does a book with less than 2,000 characters, a text so short you could read it on your lunch break, end up becoming the ideological cornerstone for one of the biggest empires on Earth for more than 1,000 years? It's an amazing story, so let's get into it. The Classic of Filial Piety is a tale of survival, intense debate, and really the incredible power of a single idea.
Our story is going to start, not really at the beginning, but in the 8th century, with one of the most powerful men in the world, Emperor Xuanzong of the Tang Dynasty. This guy ruled over a massive, wealthy, and culturally brilliant empire, and he was totally obsessed with this one tiny book.
Just think about the weight of that statement. This isn't just some casual book recommendation. Xuanzong is literally crediting this little classic with guiding his entire reign. So that begs the question, right? What on earth was in this book that a powerful emperor found so completely essential?
Well, to answer that, we have to jump in our time machine and go way back, about 1,200 years before Emperor Xuanzong, to the very source of the book's philosophy.
It all starts with Confucius. See, he and his students, they believed that a good society wasn't just built on big, abstract theories. Nope, it was built on good actions. So they created the Classic of Filial Piety to be a kind of practical handbook, a user's guide for how to live a virtuous life, starting in the one place everyone gets, the family.
And the core concept is this word xiao, or filial piety. But this is so much more than just listen to your parents. The classic says this is the root, the very beginning of all other virtues. It's this idea that your entire moral journey starts with the incredible debt you owe to the people who gave you life.
And this just lays out the scope of xiao so perfectly. It starts with the most basic thing. Take care of yourself, because your body is a gift from your parents. But it ends with this huge ultimate goal. Go out and achieve something meaningful in the world to bring honor to their name. It literally covers everything from, say, not getting into a dumb fight, all the way to becoming a respected leader.
But for a book that's all about stability, its own history was anything but. The classic itself went on this dramatic journey of near destruction and, well, a pretty chaotic rebirth.
Let's just walk through this timeline. So, after it's taught by Confucius' school, the classic faces total annihilation. In 213 BCE, the first emperor of a unified China, Qin Shi Huang, orders this massive book burning to get rid of any competing ideas. The Classic of Filial Piety was almost lost for good. It was only decades later, when the Han Dynasty came to power, that scholars started finding copies that had been hidden away in walls or just passed down from memory.
But here's the thing. Surviving created a whole new problem. It was chaos. The versions they found didn't quite match up, and that kicked off centuries of these fierce scholarly debates. Which one was the real one? You had scholars writing hundreds of different commentaries, each one arguing for their own interpretation. The book was revered, sure, but it was also a total mess.
But through all that debate, there was one core idea that made this book so politically powerful. It was this absolutely genius move of connecting the tiny micro level of the family to the huge macro level of the entire empire.
And right there, that's the heart of its political power. The classic basically argues that the family is a training ground for the state. The same respect and loyalty a good son shows his father is the exact same virtue he's going to show his ruler. If you create dutiful sons, you automatically get loyal subjects. Simple.
And the book so cleverly applies this single virtue to every single level of society. The commoner shows their filial piety by working hard to support their parents. An official shows it by serving the state with loyalty. And the emperor himself, he applies it by setting a moral example for everyone, treating the whole realm like his own family. It creates this perfect, unified social order where everybody knows their role, all based on one simple principle.
Which brings us right back to our Emperor Xuanzong. He saw the power of this idea to create a stable, harmonious empire. But it also saw the chaos of all these competing versions. He knew he had to fix it.
And in the year 722, he did just that. He launched a project that would finally end all the debates and raise the classic to its highest possible status.
He didn't just pick a side in the debate. No, he personally studied all the centuries of arguments. He synthesized the different commentaries, and he wrote his own, the one official imperial version. With a stroke of his brush, the emperor himself basically said, "This is the correct one. The argument is over."
And then the masterstroke. He had his version carved into these enormous stone tablets, and he put them on public display at the Imperial Academy. This was the ancient world's way of publishing the official source code.
It was permanent, it was public, and it was unchangeable. Xuanzong's version became the version, and it shaped Chinese society, education, and government for the next 1,200 years.
So the story of this little book, it really shows how a powerful, simple idea, especially when it's championed by the state, can create a remarkably stable social order. Which kind of leaves us with a fascinating question to think about, right? If filial piety was the central organizing principle for a whole empire, what are the core virtues that hold our modern societies together?